Hello again everyone and a warm welcome to this week's Everton Show. There's no Premier League action for us to reflect on this week of course, but there's still plenty to talk about.
Ross scored another goal and he showed what he's doing week in, week out for Everton, and Phil Jagielka probably a very special landmark to captain your country.
I'm very proud that Everton and the community have led the way again. You know, breaking new ground, always breaking new ground. I'm very, very proud of what our club does.
It was loud. I did it in the tunnel. It was the loudest game I've played in. But I think my adrenaline got me through it as well.
When I said to Sheeds, I said, I wasn't happy about your work rate, you know, at Preston in the reserve game. He says, no, I'm a first team player.
Is that what he said?
We had a great result against them last year at Goodison, and I said they've started fairly well, but we're going along nicely, and we're very confident going into the game.
Look out for that fantastic big interview, by the way, in part 3 of this week's show. It was when Snods met Howard Kendall, and I tell you what, it could have filled a show of its own. Ian Snowden's alongside me this evening. International break, Snods. I don't like these international breaks. We've had too many for me so far.
Yeah, we have, but it's nice to see England qualify for a major tournament. But you're right, it's all about club football. We love watching Everton. We love being part of Everton. And for us, that's what it's all about. So, yeah, it is a little distraction for us.
There was some good news for Evertonians, though. Phil Jagielka became the very first Everton player to captain England from the start of a game, which is some going.
Absolutely fantastic. He's been brilliant as a skipper for Everton. I think the fans have really took to him. He's got respect in the dressing room. That's the main thing, respect of all his fellow players. And it's great for him to get the armband, even if it is only once. Hopefully it might be again for England. But I think the proudest man would be his father and his family, obviously. But his father will be immensely proud when he captained England.
I'll tell you what, this boy's family will be proud as well, Ross Barkley, because he looks an international player now.
Tell you what, he's been outstanding the couple of games through the week, and he's only going to get better and better, not hopefully for England, but for Everton as well.
And he's adding goals, isn't he, to his repertoire as well, both at club and country level. Well, every international break brings a mixed bag of fortunes for Evertonians, and this one was no different. James McCarthy, Seamus Coleman, Aidan McGeady and Darren Gibson lived to fight another day via the Euro playoffs. There was heartbreak for Stephen Naismith and Scotland, but England just march on and on. It was a perfect 10 for Roy Hodgson's men, with Phil Jagielka and Ross Barkley, as we've said, playing starring roles. Indeed, the performances of our two England stars left Roberto Martinez a very proud man.
It's one of those international breaks that you understand the quality that we have, and you cannot stop keeping your fingers crossed to make sure that they come back fully fit and ready to play the next game. Ross scored another goal and he showed what he's doing week in, week out for Everton, and Phil Jagielka probably a very special landmark as a professional to captain your country. It's a special moment when you do it, and you're the first Everton player to do it in the history, to lead the team out. Is quite special, and I think he's a fitting person to achieve that landmark in our football club. And Phil Jagielka in the last 12 months has been a very, very good captain. We all know that, but I think his performances, they've gone beyond being just a captain. He's performed very consistently in a very, very high level, and he deserves that moment. He deserves that pride that leading the country brings, and I think everyone at Everton, we shared those feelings when we saw Phil Jagielka performing in the manner they did as a captain for England.
Snods, we were speaking there about Ross Barkley and how he's added goals to his repertoire. You've said in this week's match programme that you think Ross should be aiming for double figures, even at club level.
And why not, Daz? He's an attacking midfield player. We've got some quality holding midfield players in McCarthy and Barry and Mo Bezic when he plays. So that gives the licence for Ross to get forward, get into the box. And we know he's got a great left foot, right foot. He's strong when he's running at the opposition defence. So why should not Ross get 10, 12 goals a season? That's what we're expecting. I'm sure that's what he's expecting as well, and he will produce goals.
That's what we expected from Sheeds and Trevor Stephen, wasn't it?
Well, that's why they were so successful. They weren't just Sharp and Gray scoring goals. There was Stevens. Derek Mountfield, I think he got into double figures one season from centre-back. So surely Ross Barkley, the way he plays, he's got to be looking at double figures.
Scored good goals as well, doesn't he?
Scores great goals. Every goal, every Everton Evertonians score great goals, but Ross does like a special one now and again.
A few special ones for England too from young Ross. Well, another plus to emerge from this recent bout of international fixtures was the return to match fitness of Seamus Coleman, who played for Ireland over in Poland. The right-back is now in contention for a return against Manchester United this weekend, but in his absence, young Tyias Browning certainly hasn't let anybody down. He coped with one of the league's trickiest wingers at Swansea, then he dealt admirably with the cauldron atmosphere of a Merseyside derby.
It was loud. I did it in the tunnel. It was the loudest game I've played in, but I think my adrenaline got me through it as well.
So any nerves beforehand or?
Yeah, a couple of nerves, but I think that's only normal, being a derby. Yeah. But after I did enjoy the game after it anyway.
Yeah, the few experienced heads like that, like Jags and whatnot, do they help you through it?
Yeah, especially playing next to Jags, it does help a lot. He's always talking to you, giving you advice and telling you what to do and what not to do.
What's he like as a captain? You've obviously been a captain for the 21s. He's, captain, been here for a good few years now. He's
a good role model on and off the pitch, and as you say, he's helped me through the last couple of games I've played in.
You came back for pre-season a week early, didn't you? You volunteered to go with the 21s. Do you see this as reward now that it's paid off?
I'd like to think so, but I've been working with the first team for the last 2 years, and I think it has to happen sooner or later, and now's a good time. You
made your debut, you made your first Premier League appearances last season. Was it a case of being patient after that? Yeah.
I just had to keep waiting. Obviously, you never know what can happen with injuries and suspensions and whatever, but I'd like to think I've been quite patient.
Has it helped having Brendan Galloway going through the same situation that you are at the same time?
Yeah, and he's done unbelievable. Even when I'm on the sides watching, I'm excited for him when I see him run down the line. But it's good to see.
The manager said he sees Brendan as a centre half in the future. Is that the same for yourself?
Yeah, I think so. I'd like to think so. Yeah, it's where I do feel more comfortable. But as a player, I'd love to be able to play in numerous positions.
Smashing lad, isn't he, young Tyias Browning? Well, bringing young players through into the first team is very much the Everton way, but it's not just Tyias who has been to the fore this term. We spoke to under-21s coach David Unsworth about the other emerging talent, Brendan Galloway, and first of all, he spoke about Matty Pennington.
Yeah, he's a great example of sort of, not a new pathway that this club has always had the pathway, but what we believe is a quicker pathway really, in terms of him working with the under-21 group, us preparing him and getting him ready for a possible loan, was arranging that loan, and then him gradually working his way up from a loan move at which started off at Tranmere, did great at Tranmere, then he came back and trained with us for a while. He kicked on, you could see that in his performances for the 21s. Then his loan move to Coventry, albeit for just a couple of months, and then it was extended and extended again, to him, really kicking on in the summer, doing pre-season with the first team, and then him, it's no surprise to anybody who knows Matty that he got his opportunity this season. We identified sort of an area where we didn't have as many players, certainly from the sort of left centre-back role. We identified an area where it wouldn't block anybody else's pathway coming up from the 18s or the 21s, and with the recruitment department and everybody else who was involved, the coaches, we looked at Brendan a couple of times, and straight away you could see that he was a talent. He had great tools, he had great pace, great on the ball. He came in, he spent a year in the under-21s where all he had to worry about was what football boots he was going to wear in the morning, so he could just concentrate solely on his performances for the season in the 21s. Every morning, every afternoon, he put the hours in, he worked his socks off, and again another one who was ready, given an opportunity, and he's certainly taken it, hasn't he? He's he makes me very proud every time I sit in the stands and watch him every Saturday afternoon. It's great to see, and I'm delighted for him as well. He's a lovely lad, and he's got a great family. So, it's no coincidence that all these players who are coming through are great pros, very humble, got great people around them, and they're great lads themselves. So that's no surprise.
Snods, I love listening to this fella. He's so passionate when he speaks about the development of young players.
Delighted he's back at the club. Great player for the club. I know he tried his way down in London and Birmingham area, but his home is Everton Football Club, and it's great to see him back. Great to see him working with talented young kids as well, and his enthusiasm surely it'll be perfect for them boys, because he'll drive them to hopefully the first team.
He's very much fixture down at Finch Farm, of course, now, Unzi. What I like about the layout at Finch Farm is that the lads like Tyias and Brendan, who have come in and done really well for the first team, they still get changed in the under-21 dressing room. They're not quite ready to move into the first team dressing room. Is that the right thing to do?
Rightly so, yeah. They've got to earn the respect, the right to get in that first team dressing room, and just one or two performances and good performances don't get you in there. You've got to do it consistently, and then the boys will accept you in there and you become part of it. But Tyias is a shy lad. You can see he's laid back as well, but he's a talented player, and Galloway has been absolutely outstanding since he came in as well. And it's just fantastic that we're giving these kids opportunities to play in the first team. Roberto must be loving it, the academy side of Everton Football Club.
They have done fantastically well when called upon. Well, that's just about it for part one of this week's Everton Show. Coming up after a short break, we'll hear from teenage academy product Anthony Evans and the Shadow Home Secretary Andy Burnham, an MP and a lifelong Blue. Welcome back to part two of this week's Everton Show. Before the break, we were speaking about the Everton way of bringing young players into the first team. Well, before that process can be implemented, we have to first nudge the boys into the under-21s from the under-18s. Anthony Evans is in the middle of that journey, and he recently signed his first professional contract.
Childhood dream, it's all I wanted since I was a little kid, since I started playing football, and yeah, dream come true.
Your 17th birthday a fortnight ago and you're still a first year scholar. Yeah. Must be pleasing to get it done so early.
Yeah, it was down to Unzi. He shown the faith in me to get me up to the 21s, and then I shown a bit of form, bit of talent and that, and he's given me the faith and rewarded me with a professional contract.
Obviously it's been a quick progress year with the 18s at the back end of last season. Little experience in the 21s as well.
Yeah.
How difficult has that been?
The jump from the 18s to the 21s massive, like, and then gone back down with the 18s and up to the 21s. It's like, it is hard, but it's a good experience, good learning curve, and I'm thankful for it.
You mentioned Unzi there. How much has he helped you throughout the process?
He's been great with me, do you know what I mean? He's the one who's shown the faith to take me to Ireland, because there's loads of quality players and he picked me, so I can only thank him for that and thank him for this moment now.
And obviously you've been around more senior players in recent months. How much have they helped you, both on and off the field?
They're like idols, aren't they? So once you're playing with them and that, you feel at ease, because they're great players, and playing with better players is easier for yourself, so it's good.
You've been here since the age of 9 in the Everton Academy, so it's a proud moment for the coaching staff and the management as well.
Yeah.
What have they had to say about it?
Just all of them congratulated me for it, and again, I'm thankful to them, because they taught me what I know now, do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's good.
Fantastic. And for those who haven't seen you play, how do you describe yourself on the pitch?
I'm not sure. Sometimes play 9, don't I? Sometimes play as a 10, but quite quick. I can see it passing that, so hopefully I can start scoring a bit more goals so they don't know what's coming.
We mentioned David Unsworth in the under-21s there. Is the next aim to get established in that side?
Definitely, yeah. Definitely.
So what are you looking for the rest of this season?
To get myself established, just get straight back up there and stay there permanently, get as many games as possible.
Anthony Evans has got an Ian Snowden 1980s style fringe there, hasn't he?
He has, to be fair. He's got a little moustache going off as well there in that one. He does look rather similar when I were his age, but
you've seen a lot of the boy, haven't you?
I think he's more talented than I were at that age, to be fair. He's a cracking player. He says he describes himself either as a number 9 or a number 10, but what I like about him, he can score goals, that's first and foremost, but he holds the ball up well. He's got a nasty little streak in him as well. I like that. I do. I think it's fantastic when a player's got that nasty little bit in him to look after himself on the pitch, and he's certainly got that. But first and foremost, he's a talented footballer.
And the goal-scoring knack is brilliant at that age, because you can't really coach that, can you?
You can't. He gets into great situations, great areas when the ball's coming into the box, but he also likes to pick it up and run at defenders as well. So I think he's got the all-round ability to score plenty of goals.
I suppose a lot of young players, and you've been in and around young players all your football life, will sign their first contract and then sit back and think, I've made it.
Yeah, and that's one thing they can't do, because we know it's the first step on the ladder, as they say. Scholar first, then a pro, and then hopefully go and establish yourself in Unzi's under 21 and then break through into the first team. He's got a long, long way to go, but he's listened so far. He's been at the club since he was 9-year-old, so he's doing something right. So long may it continue for him.
And he knows full well that young players at Everton Football Club, if they do the business, will get the opportunities.
Well, he'll be looking at the likes of Ledsons, the Walshes, etc., who are probably a year or two above him, but he's looking at them. They're on the fringes. There's no reason why this lad can't be.
The pathway to the first team is very much illuminated at Everton Football Club, and Roberto is never slow to give the young players a chance. In fact, Finch Farm is certainly the perfect environment for young players to learn their trade and fulfil their dreams. The complex has been open now for 8 years, believe it or not. How time flies. Alan Stubbs, Joseph Yobo, Jolyon Lescott were in the squad then. And during the recent international break, we took the opportunity to show some of our loyal supporters club members around the facility. Over to you, Diamond.
Let's go and have a good look round. As you come up the stairs, there's pieces of history that have been made by teams up and down the years at this fantastic club of ours. But as we get to the top, we've got a blank space. And this is where Roberto is turning around to the players who are here now and saying, listen lads, here's all your history. As you come up the stairs, you create your own bit of history and you get yourself up there, and hopefully this year could be our year.
We were invited by the club, 10 of us, to come over through the Wakefield branch, and we travel up and down the country every week. Season ticket holders. We jumped at the chance to get down here, basically. Couldn't wait to get down here.
It's amazing. It's absolutely superb, this place. Well, it's everything I thought it was and more.
It's absolutely fantastic. Not many people get a chance to see this for starters, and to come and see it, it's a bit overwhelming really to see it.
Oh, Graham's been fantastic, and we've met Dunk. A few of the first team players was him. Absolutely fantastic.
Facilities are brilliant, second to none, aren't they? You know, we're bringing the best quality through, aren't we? You know what, young lads, Barclays and your Garbutt's and your Galloways and all this. New lads coming through all the time.
Myself, Snods and Sharpie have all been round showing the various aspects of a phenomenal place here at Finch Farm with all its magnificent facilities, and hopefully the supporters have gone away with a little bit more insight behind the scenes at Everton Football Club.
Snods, you showed a few supporter club members around Finch Farm as well. It's a terrific facility, isn't it?
Absolutely fantastic. When I signed for Everton, Belfield were kind of special then to me. But then you see Finch Farm and you think, wow, you wouldn't want to leave if you were a player. Obviously, they have the breakfast there. There's loads to do after training, but the facilities for training is second to none. So I would, if I were a player now, I would not leave that complex till late in the evening.
What about all the coloured boots?
Dear me. I tell you what, if I'd have wore coloured boots, I'm from a mining village in South Yorkshire. My dad was a miner. And if he saw me in a pair of yellow or pink boots, believe me, I would get a clip round the ear, to say the least.
They're not even boots, are they? They're too light. They're like slippers.
They are, aren't they? I can't believe that they can play that. But saying that, the ball's got even lighter from when we played. So imagine them boys kicking the balls in the 60s with them boots on. So, no, I'm sorry, it's fashion now. It's the way of selling boots. And the boys are marketing tools these days.
They certainly are. And now for something completely different. Not many guests on the Everton Show will be fully fledged, fully paid up members of the House of Parliament. But Andy Burnham is no ordinary MP in our eyes. He's a massive Evertonian who's never been shy of nailing his colours to the mast. He may have lost out to Jeremy Corbyn in the recent Labour leadership battle, but he never took his eye off the ball with regards to events at Goodison, both on the pitch and off the pitch with our work in the community.
I'm very proud that Everton and the community have led the way again. You know, breaking new ground, always breaking new ground. I'm very, very proud of what our club does. It puts its values into practice and takes a lead. And, you know, this is the third such day, Mental Health Awareness Day. And, you know, it's a brilliant thing to be supporting on a day like this.
Last year, of course, you ran the marathon for Everton in the community. Have you got any involvement planned for anything similar coming up?
Yeah, thinking of doing it again next year. You know, I vowed on the day I'd never do it again, but you know, it quickly kind of gives way to a feeling of, I could have done better on the day, and I feel I could. I was like 4 hours, 26 minutes. Kind of felt I could have been closer to 4 hours, probably maybe just under. So yeah, beginning to think about doing it again, and of course I'd love to do it for Everton and the community again. You know, it was a proud day to run round London with the Everton logo on my back, and hopefully did something to raise awareness of what our club does.
It's been a busy few months for you, of course, Andy. Have you had a chance to get to many games so far this season?
Not as many as I would like. With the leadership contest over now, I'm happily spending more time with my season ticket. I was at the derby at the weekend and got to Reading away, so beginning to get back in the swing. Playing okay, aren't they? I was just waiting for them to, you know, feel that the potential's all there. Just hoping that we might just go up a level. I've got my eye on that League Cup this year. I think it's our time to get a trophy back in the cabinet. So I'm hopeful. I think, you know, Roberto's definitely kicked on this year with the squad. So much potential there. A lot of them playing well. It's just if we can now kind of knit it all together to you know, have a go at some honours this year.
I've got a lot of time for him, Andy Burnham. It must be difficult if you're an MP. You need the support of as many people in the city as you can. But he's not afraid to nail his Everton colours to the mast, is he? No, he's a true Evertonian, isn't he? I've met him on a couple of occasions. We've had him on the fan zone with us, and he's a popular figure around Goodison Park when he turns up, and he certainly does love the Blues. There's no question about it. He knows his onions as well, doesn't he? He knows what he's talking about. Yeah, he certainly does. He's seen some good sides while he's been supporting Everton. He's seen one or two bad ones, I would imagine, as well, but he certainly knows a player. He knows the way that he likes to watch football, and yeah, he is. He's a great fan. You were at this tournament that Andy's pictured at here. It was the football tournament organised by Everton in the community for people with mental health issues, and these lads, the coaches, put a right shift in, don't they? Fantastic. I turned up to do the prize giving at the end. They'd been there all day from 11 o'clock. Johnny, who was on the show last week, he'd organised it, and fantastic event. And it doesn't surprise me, because Everton in the community, whenever they put an event on, it is absolutely A1, and every team that went there, and let me tell you, there was a lot of tough tackling teams in there. Man City especially, they got beat in the final, but everybody came up to Johnny at the end and said, thank you very much, well run, we'll be here again hopefully next time you put one on. It doesn't matter at what level you're playing for Everton Football Club. Once that crest is on your shirt, you're representing the football club. You are. We had a couple of teams in it who really didn't do as well as they were expected. They all wanted to win the coveted trophy, by the way, but it weren't to be. But you could see everybody that had put time and effort into that was satisfied at the end, that it all run smoothly. Everybody had stayed till the end to applaud the winners, and it was just a fantastic day. They make us proud to be blue, don't they, Everton in the community? And the lads, the coaches there, like Scott and Dave and Andrew. They put hours in. Every event we turn up in, they've been there all day, basically. They do a fantastic job, and I take my hat off to them. They're great for the club. Fantastic representatives, one and all, the lads and the lasses, of course, from Everton in the community. Well, that rounds off the second part of this week's show. Coming up after the break, we'll bring you our latest big interview. And this time it's Snods putting the questions to the man who signed him from Leeds United way back in 1987. Welcome back to part 3 of the Everton Show. It's big interview time, and this week we've got Ian Snowdon in the chair, no less, posing the questions. His special guest is none other than Howard Kendall, the man who splashed out a rather large sum of cash, an awful lot of cash, by the way, to bring Ian Snowdon to Goodison 28 years ago. The pair are still great friends, and I think you'll enjoy this week's big interview. Here we are at Formby Old Golf Club, and I'm here to interview the most successful manager in Everton's history. A man who was responsible for bringing me to this great club. It is Howard Kendall. Good morning, boss.
Good morning, sir.
Just before we go into your management, I want to start about your playing career, because I've seen clips. You were a successful player. You were a very good player in my eyes. I don't want to jump the gun too much, because I know you had many games, but the three of you in midfield, that's all anybody talks about. When I signed for the club, it was... Even my dad, when I was coming for talks, went Ball, Kendall and Harvey. He said they were sensational players. He said, you've got something to live up to there, because the Evertonians will expect you as a midfield player to be as good as them three. What a midfield three you were.
Brian Bone used to say, we were the only three-man team that won the league. I mean, it was just headlines every week. And I mean, after we played Los Tres Magnificos and things like that, like, you know.
What were the strengths?
But it was a great team.
Oh, fantastic!
It was a great team. It wasn't just the three of us.
No, it was a fantastic team. But what were the strengths of your three individual strengths?
Yeah, I think Colin was a gifted player. I had Johnny Morrissey outside him. I worked the right-hand side. I was more of a defensive player than Colin, but Paulie did the lot. I mean, he covered a lot of ground, scored a lot of goals, and for me, he was the best player I ever played with.
Yeah?
Yeah, without a doubt.
That is some statement. Some statement.
I didn't play with you, did I?
No, well, you didn't, unfortunately. Well, you did in training now and again.
All right.
I've seen enough in training to suggest you weren't.
All right,
to be fair,
fair enough.
Did you obviously enjoyed management, but how did the move come to Everton? Was it Blackburn who approached you and said, we've had an approach from Everton?
How could you turn down Everton?
No.
You know, it was just such a massive club and so many fun memories, you know, as a player.
Did you find it hard at first?
It was difficult at the start because, I mean, when we go back to Catterick with the balance and the team and whatever, and I looked at the Everton squad and there was about 6 centre-halves, about 8 central midfield players, 1 left wing, nobody on the right-hand side. It was just so unbalanced. And I was remembered of the Magnificent 7 or Magnificent 8, wasn't it? That I did sign when I went in there.
Yeah.
And they said we want changes. You know, my first signing was Neville Southall, so they can't say anything about that because he became the best goalkeeper in the world for me, and he was absolutely fantastic.
How did Neville come about?
It was funny, really, because I had a friend who had a pub in Llandudno.
That's a shock.
Yep, friends all over the place. And Norman Jones, his name was, and he had the Neville pub in Llandudno, believe it or not. And Neville Southall's dad used to drink in the pub. And he called me. I was at Blackburn at the time.
All right, yeah.
And he called me and he said, there's a player playing for Winsford United, goalkeeper. He says, you must come and have a look at him. So I thought, yeah, all right. I went down there. He was absolutely magnificent.
Yeah.
He went to Bury for £6,000. Now, I didn't need a goalkeeper at Blackburn. They wouldn't let me sign another one. I had 2 senior goalkeepers. But when I went to Everton, I wanted to clear out certain goalkeepers and thought, well, I'll go to Bury. I can honestly say that I don't remember Neville Southall costing us a goal.
Is that right?
And that is true. That is true.
Well, I know the ambassador, Graham Stewart, was an ambassador with me, and I have to travel in with him, unfortunately, every day. He reckons he were the best signing you've ever made, but surely Neville must be the best signing you've ever made.
Is this live?
Neville's got to be
without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. When you talk about Neville Southall signing, I think I've got to mention Kevin Sheedy on that one.
Yeah, without a doubt. A big mate of mine, love him to death, Sheeds, and what a left foot.
You know, I mean, he didn't get the chance at Liverpool. He was only playing League Cup matches, apparently, and went to look at him at Preston in a reserve game with Colin Harvey. And I was a little bit sceptical in terms of his work rate.
I used to tell him that every week.
Did you? Yeah.
Why did he need to work when
he wouldn't take notice of you? Didn't take notice of me either.
No, you're right.
So, no, Colin says, let's go for him.
Yeah.
And when I said to Sheeds, I said, I wasn't happy about your work rate, you know, at Preston in the reserve game. He says, no, I'm a first-team player.
Is that what he said? Fair enough.
Fair enough.
There's no.
I said, well, you know, if I sign you, you're in the first team.
Yeah. I know all the boys that were there in '85, and all the fans talked to me about the game that the old lady, Goodison Park, absolutely rocked that night. Can't let you get away without telling me about what your thoughts were on that Bayern Munich game.
I was going to tell you the name of the game. I was going to tell you that.
No, I'm going to tell you that because obviously
I knew what you were talking about.
I knew my history. I had to
knew
look
what
at
you
my
were
history.
talking about.
So come on and give me that day. Was it as good as everybody said?
Oh, jeez, dearie me. Goodison was rocking. And we went 1-0 down. So at half-time you do a team talk, and I mean, things stand out on team talks, but they were natural with me. I thought, well, it wasn't a case of people remembering what you'd said. It was a case of like, hey, we're going towards the Gladys Street end. You know, they'll suck it in.
Yeah.
Two from long throws. The first goal, the equaliser, and the second one to go in front, and the third one, Trevor Stevens' goal. I mean, that was absolutely incredible. But Udo Lattek comes down the touchline.
Yeah.
Kendall, this is not football. Well, you can imagine the response from everybody standing up. Yeah.
Do one, mate.
Oh, no,
politely.
Politely.
But I felt not the final for me, because I was just watching it I was a Leeds player at the time, but I remember watching the game, the final, and it was the most one-sided final. Was it I'm not saying an anticlimax, because it couldn't have been an anticlimax.
No.
You won the cup, but compared to that game, was the final anticlimax?
I'd seen Rapid before, and I couldn't tell the players how confident I was, because like they may have gone out there with thinking, oh, it's an easy one after Bayern. So I didn't get into that, but I was so confident because we were so much better than them.
Yeah.
But I mean, a little journalist came down to me. I was upstairs and then went downstairs the dugout to be with the lads. We're 2-0 up. And this little journalist comes up, Kendall, what is it like to win European Cup Winners' Cup? I went, well, then Krankel scored. I went, clear off. And then Sheedy went straight down and scored. Kevin Sheedy went straight down and scored, and I went, hey, come here, lad, sorry about that. I'll talk to you now.
But I remember watching the game and then, as I said, seeing it again. The number of Evertonians, they only seemed as though they were Evertonians in the ground that night.
Yeah, fantastic. Great atmosphere.
What did it feel like when they lifted that cup? Must have been proud.
Well, I think you always remember your first time that you picked something up, you know, which was the FA Cup.
Yeah, that's right.
In '84. So you remember that one, and then of course winning a couple of leagues, and then, but I mean the European one was special. You know.
We went out socially the other night to some friend's 65th birthday, and I saw Evertonians, boss, grown men coming over to you, kissing your hand and saying thanks for the memories. You must feel great inside when Evertonians are coming up and saying...
didn't believe it was a fella.
But it must be a great feeling when grown men are coming up and saying thanks for the best years of my life, the trophies you've won, the enjoyment you've given. And
I mean, naturally, it's an age group. I mean, youngsters, the parents have got to tell the youngsters those times. So there's a certain age group which really come up to you, and they were delighted with what they'd seen, and I'm, proud of it.
Can I just finish off by just saying thanks for getting me to Everton Football Club. Absolutely love the place.
It was a bargain.
No, it weren't a bargain yet. It went at first. I didn't really do myself justice at first. Progressed later on at right back and stuff like that. But I'd just like to thank you for bringing me to this club. It's a fantastic football club, fantastic manager, and we could talk for hours, I'm sure, and probably off air we will talk for hours. Thank you very much.
Look forward to it. Thank you very much, Ian. All the best to you.
Thank you.
Snod, what a lovely piece of film that was. I hope that was sparkling water in front of you.
It was sparkling water in front of me, and I think Howard were dying for a drink during that as well. But what a privilege. I was quite nervous, to be honest. It was one of my first interviews for Everton TV, but he's a legend, and he still is in my eyes. I still call him boss. All the ex-players still call him boss because he's got that respect. I just think he's a fantastic fella. Still socialise with him now when I see him as well. And yeah, I admire the man, and he's what a job he did for Everton Football Club.
I don't think he gets the recognition that he thoroughly deserves. He built 2 championship winning sides, the European Cup Winners' Cup, FA Cup, almost did the treble. That's
when I'm in his company, and I said it in the interview, I've seen grown men in the 60s, the 50s, saying thank you very much to him. Honestly, because it's given him the greatest years watching Everton around, and he's just more, he just shakes around, thank you very much. He don't think he's done anything special. I think he knows he built a good football team, but he also knows that the players did it on the pitch for him. His man management was absolutely fantastic. Players wanted to play for him. That's the biggest compliment I can pay.
Legend, isn't he? Absolute legend. Well, that's enough nostalgia for this week. We'll take a short break now, and when we come back for the 4th and final part of this week's show, we'll start the countdown to one of the biggest Goodison games of the season, Everton versus Manchester United. Welcome back to the 4th and final part of the Everton Show. It's Manchester United at Goodison Park this weekend as the big games keep coming thick and fast. Nods, there's no doubt about it. It's been a punishing schedule for Everton.
It has. The fixture list when they came out looked quite strong. I think a lot of people, not Evertonians, but a lot of other people thought we might struggle, but we've played already, after the Arsenal games, the top 7 that finished in the league last season, we've played them all. And I think we've done rather well. I think we're playing well, playing with plenty of confidence. And yeah, it has. They have been punishing games, but we've played really well, picked up some valuable points as well. And I'm happy with the start we've made.
As you say, when you looked at the fixture list when it was first published in June, you winced a little bit, but it's the middle of October. We've only lost once. That was against Manchester City when they were on fire. You'd have taken that.
Yeah, Man City did play ever so well at our place as well. We matched them for the first 45 minutes. Thought it was a terrific game. I thought we played quite well. But you're right, we've played some very difficult games. Southampton are now on a run, playing really well. We went down there and won convincingly 3-0. Down at Tottenham was an hard-fought point. We got a draw down there. So Saturday against Man United, I don't fear.
We can beat them.
Yeah, I don't fear Man United. I think they're a good side, but they're not a great side. They ain't got the Beckhams, the Scholes, etc. So I think Goodison again will be very noisy, very rowdy, and I think if the boys put on a good performance, we'll certainly beat Man United. I'm confident.
Goodison Park will be rocking, no doubt about that. Well, Roberto Martinez has played Manchester United twice at Goodison Park as the manager of Everton, winning 2-0 2 seasons ago and 3-0 last year. The Blues boss always welcomes the challenge the Old Trafford side will bring and is very much looking forward to locking horns with Louis van Gaal again on Saturday.
Well, we all know, I think, this Manchester United side is starting to get a real understanding. To get top of the league is not an easy feat to achieve in our competition. They achieved that 2 weeks ago. We faced them not long ago at Goodison, and I think you know the individual quality that they bring, and it's one of those games again that you need every single percentage in your favour to be able to compete against a very good side. I thought Goodison Park in the last 2 home fixtures in the derby and against Chelsea was very important, and I feel in the same manner that on Saturday we can get the same atmosphere, the same energy is a big advantage that we can use in our performance. But we'll have to be at our very best, as you would imagine, because we're facing a really strong team.
And this fixture in particular has brought the best out of our team the last couple of years. 2 fantastic wins.
Well, at home, yeah, and obviously at Old Trafford we were very disappointed in last season when we felt that we played a lot better than the defeat gave us 2 outstanding saves from David De Gea, stopped us from getting a positive result. The season before we got a historic win. We've been performing really well, but in the same way I think it's fair to say that Manchester United, they've been adjusting to changes and they found now a real settled team that has been performing really, really well this season, and clearly it's gonna be a very tight game. I don't see big differences into going into the 3 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah, is it nice to play a game of this calibre on a Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock?
It is. Yeah, it makes a difference. Sometimes you don't control the kickoff time and with the TV commitments, but it'll be great to have a normal 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon game at Goodison with our fans again, it's another sellout crowd, and we're really looking forward to make sure that we show the best possible image of our football club and perform really, really well against a very good side.
Snods, the gaffer there, just mentioning Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock. That's something you go on about time and time again.
We know no different as players in our time. It was always Saturday at 3 o'clock, and you prepared for that. So, but with the television now, the rights that they've got to Premier League football, it's even going to be Friday night football as well, is it? The Premier League, and so it's
not the same, is it?
No, it's not. I used to love the 3 o'clock Saturday, and for me, that's what you aim for all week. Saturday 3 o'clock kickoff. The fans loved that, but I'm sorry to say that TV's got the rights and they can do what they want. So, but no, I'm looking forward to it.
Manchester United at the weekend. Let me talk to you about Wayne Rooney, who seems to be making more positive headlines for his country than he does for his club at the moment. Where's he at?
I don't know, but I'd have him in my team. If he wants to come back to Everton, Wayne, the road's open for you in my eyes. I know he left years and years ago, but he's still, in my eyes, a fabulous player, team player. He's not scoring as many goals for Man United. Hopefully, if he does play on Saturday, he's been injured, he missed a couple of games with England, but if he does play, I'm hoping he's rather quiet, because he's not, since he left Everton, he's not been brilliant against Everton, and long may it continue. But he's still a terrific player, and he's still one that I'd have in my team.
Fits and starts, I think, is the best way to describe Marouane Fellaini's Manchester United career.
Great lad. Got to know him out in China. Had 10 days or so out with Marouane, doing things for Everton out there, and he's a great lad. Got a lot of time for him. I thought he did well at Everton after a really slow start. People were questioning the transfer fee, but since then, when he went to Man United, the time he had at Everton, I thought it was terrific for us. I thought it caused a lot of problems, and the games he did actually play against Man United, he was outstanding. He was the best player for Everton on a couple of occasions, so it was no surprise that David Moyes took him there. But I hope we can keep Marouane, if he plays, quiet. But I think it's all about Everton. I don't want to talk about Man United. I want to be positive about our club, our team on this particular day, and I think if we perform, we can beat Man United.
Quite right, Snods. It's all about Everton, and there's no shortage of competition for places in this Everton team, particularly in the wide areas, and one of the players waiting patiently and working ever so hard for a regular starting berth is Aaron Lennon. The Blues winger has been around the Premier League long enough to know that nothing can ever be taken for granted, but he admits that he'd love to be in from the off in one of the campaign's biggest games on Saturday.
Yeah, can't wait. It's always a great game. We had a great result against them last year at Goodison, and like I said, they've started fairly well, but we're going along nicely, and we're very confident going into the game.
You mentioned that it was a 3-0 win.
Yeah.
Is that possibly one of the best team performances you've played here at Everton so far?
I think so, definitely. I think we started brightly. The tempo was great. We got about them, and like I said, everything went our way. But like I said, probably the best performance at Goodison for us that day. Yeah.
The Yorkshire lad brought up at Leeds.
Yeah.
I suppose games against Manchester United, they were always quite fierce.
Yeah, they always have been. Like I said, obviously, like I said, me playing from Leeds, or even just watching the Leeds games from a young kid, it's always a massive game for them. So, but every game against Man United, the top side, is a great game to play in and be involved in. So, like I said, we'll look forward to it, and we'll be ready.
We've had good results against them in the past couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Are they still the United of old?
I wouldn't say the United of old, but like I said, they've started fairly well this year, and they've still got great players, great individuals, and they're still a good side. And so, like I said, we won't be taking them lightly, but like I said, at the same time, we're still very confident going into the game.
Snods, like yourself, Aaron Lennon, a former Leeds United player. Leeds United v Man United, now there's a game.
Yeah, they are a bit tasty. I never played against Man United when I was a Leeds player, but yeah, they don't like each other for some apparent reason. I think that goes into the 70s when the likes of Billy Bremner, Johnny Giles played. But yeah, that is a tasty fixture, but so is this one on Saturday.
He's a handy player to have around, isn't he?
I like him. I like him. I think he gives you a lot going forward with his pace and directness, but I think he gives you a defensive side of him as well. I know, talking to Seamus Coleman about him, he loves playing in behind Aaron because he does work hard, and it allows Seamus to get on the outside and get crosses in because he knows that Aaron will fill in for him.
It's a part of his game that we as Evertonians didn't really appreciate when he first joined the club on loan last season.
We did. I I was quite surprised to see his work rate, because I just thought he had one dimension to his game, Aaron. I thought he was just busy going forward, getting to the byline and crossing balls. I didn't realise that he works ever so hard for the team as well. So I think he's been a great acquisition.
Whoever plays in the wide areas, it's important to take the game to Manchester United. We've done it 2 years ago, we've done it last season, and we beat them.
Yeah, we did beat them, and we beat them convincingly at times as well, because we played really well, pushed them back. And I think that's what, just look at Arsenal the other week, what they did to them in the first 20 minutes. The game was over because they were positive, they took the game to Man United, and Man United couldn't deal with it. I'm not saying that we've got as much pace and directness as Arsenal, but we can certainly take the game, take it to them early as well, hopefully try and get that first goal and get them on the back foot.
Roberto Martinez said to the press earlier this week that John Stones may well be there or thereabouts, but Ramiro Funes Mori would be a little bit disappointed, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I think he will, because he played ever so well in the Derby game, really, really well, and I was pleased for him, to be quite honest.
He's a defender, isn't he?
He is, an out-and-out defender. That's what he's classed as, that's what he's come as, a defender. And when it needs clearing, he puts it into Rowe's head. It's as simple as that. But in John Stones, we've got a quality player, international player. And I would feel sorry for Murray if John comes back in, but if I were picking my strongest 11 to beat Man United, John Stones would be in it.
Well, whoever plays, it's certainly one to look forward to, isn't it? And that's us done here on the Everton Show for another week. We've had our first ever England captain. We're keeping our fingers crossed for our Irish boys, and we're ready for when Spain meets Holland at Goodison on Saturday. Roberto Martinez against Louis van Gaal. My thanks to Snods for joining us this week, and a big thank you to all of you, not just for tuning in tonight, but for all your continued kind words about the Everton Show. We hope you've enjoyed it again this week. We'll be back to do it all again in 7 days.